if we can just move gear just quickly on risk taking, you mentioned about corporate risk taking. 4G was due to hit the UK in 2014. As you mentioned, you went to the authorities, you got it
2015.
early. 2015.
Earliest, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you've obviously been able to bring it forward by persuading or whatever you were able to do. But it is a significant risk for both the 1.4 million pounds a day you're investing into the network, and also potentially for you yourself as the CEO driving that forward. So from your perspective, tell me about that decision, because there's benefits of being first to market. There's also benefits of being second, because you can just learn from the mistakes from the first and be the seamless, smooth operator and go in second.
I guess by taking risk, and at times, of course, it was very stressful, because I was not always sure that we were going to be able to deliver it. But to be able to say to your team, when they asked me, at times they said, but what's the plan B? And I said, there is no plan B. So that was kind of refreshing, because I mean, of course, potentially we would have continued, but there was not a real plan B around leadership, and if we wouldn't have been able to activate and drive our network. And that was one of the reasons why all the teams were able to deliver, because everyone started to understand what is at stake. Yeah. And so I think it was good to do that. What was it difficult? Yes, at times I think it was very difficult to live with that. In particular, the problem is always, and I think that's where it's difficult to take these risks. If you take a risk, but you can control the execution, that's kind of okay for me. But if there is 20 to 30% which is not directly under your control, so which is sitting with a regulator or sitting with some lawyers who keep fighting you from the competition, that's a bit difficult. Yeah. And so my advice is, if you expect that, if you take a risk, that 40% of it or 50% of it is going to be external, don't do it. But if it's, most of it is within your own, remit, I think you should do it, especially when you are a number one or a leader. Then you should just go for it.
Yeah. Yeah. As you said, the biggest risk is taking no risk at all.
Well, that's the other point. That's the other point. In hindsight, some of my competitors have taken more risk by just using lawyers and not differentiate with the network, because they could have, at any point in time, start changing their tactic and actually start moving forward.
Just quickly on decision making, it's a very small but practical point. You're the guy that's making the decisions as to where to invest, the money. Obviously, you've got your community. But do you decide these big 1.4 million pound a day investment network decisions on gut, or is that, as you said, it's purely financial?
No, of course not. I mean, you can't. I mean, then I wouldn't be here. No, you have to have a plan. Of course, you have we have a very solid financial plan. We have made some really big financial commitments to the analyst community that I need to. That are the principles. I need to get to 25% margin. I need to get 3.5 billion in synergy. So I have some very, very clear guidelines. And then, we spend a tremendous amount of time with the technology teams, with the IT teams, to make sure that we have the right plan and the right financials behind it. And then, we discussed it with the shareholders, and we're able to get the approvals.